Which one is Paige? The lady she was jealous. Okay, so this is Paige Hanna. She uploaded this video 4 days ago, and the reason why, and I could understand why she wants to resurface and address some things, is because when Kevin Franke did his second police interview, this is the one where we didn't have video footage, but we had the audio footage too, and there was a lot of really weird shit going on in that interview. Okay, like he talks about like paranormal activities and seeing things floating and things smashing and hearing things, like just really weird stuff. And then the weird things going on between Jodi Hildebrand, Ruby Franke, Pam Bochner, how the women would all like lock themselves in a room for a couple of hours, didn't let Kevin near, didn't let any of like Ruby Franke's children near, and just like a lot of really weird stuff. Now, the reason why the Hannas have been brought up is because in the very beginning of the interview, Kevin Franke talks about how him and Ruby were introduced to connections initially. It was from the Hannas. I think the husband's name is Johnny and Paige Hanna. And so they were friends with Ruby Franke, and then they got really into this connection stuff. And they introduced Ruby Franke to Jodi Hildebrand. So that's like the first connection right there. Not the literal word connection, okay? Not the connections with the X. And there was a weird allegation that Kevin Franke brought up. Now, he didn't say that it was like, like he just wasn't sure what version was true, because Jodi Hildebrand's version was that there was a time where she stayed with the Hannas, and it was for 6 weeks. And I guess she told Kevin Franke and Ruby that she was kidnapped for those 6 weeks during that time. I don't know. I pulled up the Instagram of Connections, Ruby's Instagram, to kind of like get the timeline to see if they match up. But it seems to me that during that time, Jodi was still posting. She had a workshop during that time. So it's like, were you really kidnapped, or were you just like, was she just a compulsive liar and she knew how to manipulate and control people? It seems like it might be that. She might be a compulsive liar. And so Kevin said that, I think the Hanna said that it wasn't, it was actually that Jodi did stay with them for 6 weeks, but things got a little bit weird because Jodi was like self-harming herself and then maybe try to seduce the husband, which I don't know if I believe that part, because, a lot of us think that maybe Jodi, maybe she's like a closet lesbian. I don't know, who knows? Maybe she goes both ways, but it seems like a lot of the times when she was working with couples, her goal was to always isolate the man, the husband, and then really focus and hone in on the wife. Now, whether or not there was like an attraction there or not, there was some speculations that maybe she was attracted to women. But that's something that like we don't really know for sure. Pam Bochner triggers me for some reason. Trust me, it's not for some reason. There is a reason, okay? We've all watched the body cam footage. When Pam goes up there and the police officers or law enforcement's talking to her, and they're like, so, what's Connections? And she makes it seem like Connections is something that's like Ruby and Jodi's thing, and like she's not involved. Lo and behold, we go on the Connections website. She's like, but bam, she's plastered as the president. Now, I went on the Connections website recently and it's gone. It's not up there anymore. So I don't know. Maybe Pam took it down. Maybe Pam was like, oh shit, I forgot there's a website up there that shows that I'm the president. That doesn't look good.
Hi, my name's Paige Hanna. I'm married to Johnny Hanna. I have 8 kids. I live in Utah. And I am a former colleague to Jodi Hildebrand and former friend and business partner to Ruby Franke. This video has been a long time coming. For years, I wanted to share my experience with Connections and have not known how or when. And no, it's time. I definitely know that my husband's name has been put on the radar through Kevin Franke and some misconceptions he's had.
Okay, so she said misconceptions that he had. So I wonder what part of that she's going to clear up.
I'd like the opportunity to share my experience in its entirety, to offer a bridge to a lot of pieces that are not connecting. I want to explain first that in no way will the videos I put out be monetized. I am not seeking any gain off of the pain of the Franke children. I only seek to provide some understanding that hopefully in the future might aid them in some way, or aid people who will help them in understanding this side of the narrative. The comments below will be shut off, as well as like and dislike. I've already...
Actually, I don't think you can turn off like and dislike, can you? I don't know if you can or not. Oh, maybe it doesn't show. Maybe you can still like and dislike, but it doesn't show us the numbers. I forgot. YouTube changed like their like and dislike thing, which is like so silly. She looked a lot more chipper in the attempted. Oh, of course. It's like different types of videos, right?
Been accused of being the source of all of this pain that's been caused because I initially was the introduction of connections to Ruby.
And that's wild for me. So like if people were going after her, like, oh, it's all your fault that the kids are suffering because you introduced Ruby to Jodi Hildebrandt. Well, it's also possible that she didn't know the extreme extent that Jodi Hildebrandt, you know, like even though it seems like Jodi Hildebrandt's abuse has been going on for, I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 plus years, it's possible that not everyone knew about that or maybe how extreme it was. I don't know. It'd be very interested to see or hear if there were any victims who were like, oh, actually, by the way, like this type of abuse that Jodi did on like the children, like this was like very well known in our circle. There's no way that X, Y, and Z wouldn't have known about this. So I don't know. I'm assuming that like she didn't know how bad it was. Or she just didn't know at all. She probably just saw Jodi as like someone who's like, oh my God, this is someone who can change my life. Maybe. I don't know. Because I wouldn't go so quick to just blame her off the bat because I'm not sure if she knew how bad Jodi was, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Rain, hello everyone. Abusers are very careful about who knows about them. Right. I can see that too. What I do also have lingering in my mind was that Jessie did say that whenever... Remember how like Jessie said that like she would be like duct taped with her mouth shut or something like that, and whenever like she was around people, adults, she was told to not talk to them. And it seems like people knew of this practice that Jodi did where kids were doing like she was making kids do like these like really weird things. I just don't know how transparent she was with how severe it was. It could have just been like, oh, okay, like, you know, you can't talk to her and she's not going to respond back to you. Like, that's it. But I don't know if it's like, okay, like people actually saw the kids being duct taped or people actually saw there was like wounds, like, right? Like, we're not really quite sure to what extent other people know about Jodi.
There is an email address posted below. If you have sincere comments or questions, you can email that address. Those will be screened before getting to me. So save your energy in posting negative because I won't read them, but I genuinely will help answer anything that people are wondering.
I imagine Jodi told people Jessie did awful things to deserve that treatment too. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure she did. I just want to know how severe, like, did people know how severe it was? Or was it just like, okay, just like, don't talk to her. Don't address her. Pretend she's invisible.
This isn't going to be easy. This isn't something that I take any joy in sharing. It's been really difficult the last 6 months understanding what those Franke children have been through. Especially with the knowledge that I tried to warn Ruby and she...
Now, she said she tried to warn Ruby. I want to know, what exactly did she try to warn Ruby? Was it the manipulation that she had with Jodi maybe? Or did she end up finding like, oh, by the way, you know, Jodi Hildebrandt's like, she has victims and they came out to me and told me that, like, you know, she's abusive towards children, towards people, blah, blah, blah. So I wonder what specifically did she try to warn Ruby? But also, I could imagine, if we believe what Kevin Franke say is true, if Ruby really wanted to be the best friend of Jodi Hildebrandt and she was jealous of Paige and her husband, that it's possible that by the time when Paige and the husband was out of the picture, she just like worshiped Jodi, and anything negative that people would have to say about Jodi, she might have just been like, I don't care. I'm not going to believe it. Hi, Storm.
Not only didn't listen, but told me that I was lying And it has been very painful understanding that she was already that controlled.
And I want to know what the time frame would be for all of this. Like, did she try to confront and tell Ruby right after, her and Jodi's friendship ended, or was it like later down the road?
By Jodi. In order for you to understand the later things that took place, Jodi did in fact stay at my home for 6 weeks.
Okay, so that's confirmed.
I need to start at the beginning with where I was introduced to connections and some of the very basic teachings that I received, because those teachings that were good at the beginning were what I was able to utilize and my husband to recognize how sick.
I'm going to speed through the teachings a little bit, okay? I'm just going to cruise his feed.
She was. I also have the understanding that even when I was taking a class from her, which is initially how I met her, she had already been abusive to Jesse Hildebrand. So
right.
In the past, I may have said that, she became a dark person. I recognize she was a dark person from the beginning and can see how it was masked and how she utilized good things to then bring in this control that she wielded.
Okay, I like that clarification.
In 2017, I had just given birth to my 6th child, who was a girl. I had had 5 boys previously, and this girl, while I was so excited to have this girl, I was terrified of being a mother to a daughter, and just was finally at a point where I really wanted to understand myself better to be a better parent. I had a nanny, a dear friend who had been helping me for years and had seen Jodi as a therapist for a period of her life, a short period, and had some forms and worksheets from her time.
I wonder where the nanny is now. Hello, Fit. Hi, Moondog. How are you doing today? How's it going?
In therapy, and brought them to me, and they were good. They were very basic teachings of how to know if you've gone into drama and how to get yourself out of it, how to recognize your motive and not go into shame, or just really basic. I don't know that they were Jodi's teachings or just therapy in general, but that put Jodi on the radar. So then a year later, when I heard she was doing a parenting class, I thought it was a good idea. This parenting class was a 6-week or 8-week course, taught once a week for 2 hours. There were a few couples in there. There were some different men and women, and it was a typical class. We came in, she had a presentation, she would teach some principles, and we'd ask questions, and then we'd be on our way. As I sat in the class, there were so many things that were good. And I know nobody wants to be educated in connections.
Oh, I'm going to speed through this part. Just a little bit.
A connections bomb went off for me 3 years ago, and I haven't touched it. I didn't even sit in the rubble. I want it out. I had eradicated the vocabulary. I just wiped the slate and went the other direction. And
good.
For the purpose of you understanding what will then take place, there's some principles I want you to understand. The very, very basic one was there was an arrow coming down pointing this way and an arrow coming down pointing this way, and it was peace. Peace feels like serenity and calm and confident and at rest, and this state that everybody would like to be in. You feel enough, you feel worthy, you feel loved. And then on this side was pain. And in a state of pain, you feel insecure, unworthy, unloved, anxious, depressed, stressed. And
Jodi in parenting should have been one sentence. Given the fact that she herself is a failed mother, I wouldn't have taken her advice on parenting. I wonder what she told people when they asked about her daughter. Like, oh, didn't you have a teenage daughter? Where is she now? Did she just tell them like, oh, my daughter, she's just brainwashed. I don't know. She wanted to be with her father. Like, she was horrible. I sent her away. Like, I wonder what she told people. Because she did mention the daughter in her book. Oh gosh, I forgot what specifically, but it seems like her and her daughter just didn't get along. And then one day the daughter was like, I want to go live with dad. And then boom, she went to go live with dad and then cut off ties with Jodi Hildebrandt forever. But I mean, it'll be interesting to hear from the daughter's perspective because we're obviously getting like a very sanitized version from Jodi, right? Hi, Thomas. How are you doing today? How's it going? I'm going to slow it back down when she talks about her personal experience, but I just don't want to listen to the connection stuff. Like, not that slowly.
And the whole process was that if you can look at your thoughts, you can trace when you moved from that place of peace over into a place of
anxiety,
pain. Ultimately, she shifted that into when you can trace your thoughts and your feelings, then you will know if you are in truth or if you've moved into a place of distortion.
Oh no.
And yes, I want to gag every time I use those two words because she completely destroyed the word truth, and distortion makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, it's funny because like I was gonna use the word distortion the other day and I was like, I don't know. It's a word that like I can't even use in my vocabulary anymore because I will insta think of Jodi. Ugh. You're thinking about getting a spray tan. Why? Ew. You're gonna be all orange?
So I'm just going to refer to them as pain and peace.
Okay.
But I want you to understand that's where the initial they're in distortion came from. Because to accuse a child of being in distortion, well, then you should be able to have the compassion and empathy to recognize, well, they're in a state of pain. And instead of saying, well, they're not in truth, then it's, oh, well, they're not in peace. And how can I, as a parent, help them to get into a state of peace if I can recognize that they're in pain?
Oh my God, I could totally see Ruby just eating this up.
And so I took to that pain and peace teaching very quickly because I thought, what a gift. What a gift. If I can recognize my child's hurting, then I can see they're in pain and I can help them through compassion and kindness and charity, help them come over into a place of peace. That's why the parents were there. That was the parenting class. Another teaching was...
And yeah, and honestly, it doesn't sound bad. Like on the surface level, like, oh, okay, this sounds like something that I can take, I can understand very easily, and I can implement it in my life, and hopefully I can help my children grow and nurture them.
Adulation and denigration. A state of feeling better than or a state of feeling less than. And if you are feeling like you're better than other people, then somewhere deep inside you must have fear that you're not enough. And if you feel less than other people, well, then you have fear that you're not enough. And they're both on the same lever. It's just which one are you in, and how do you get to the fulcrum of I'm enough. I'm just enough. I'm not better than less than. I'm just enough of who I am. So when I heard that, I thought, well, this is great. I can tell every time I go into feeling less than, and that was something I brought to my kids. I thought, this is amazing. When you're at school, if you can feel that you've gone into this state, like, oh, then you're in pain, and what are the stories you're telling yourself, or what experience happened that was really hard that you can talk to me about, and I can show you love and kindness around. And so I saw this material initially as being this very basic, simple way to become a better person, a more kind, patient, loving person. It slowed down behavior enough so you could recognize the thought before the action, and that was a good space. That was a good thing I needed. As a younger mom with 6 little kids, my oldest at the time I think was 8. So 6 kids under 8. I just wanted to be more in peace. So pain and peace was the gauge. And then everything else, all of these principles of truth, were these supplements to help you recognize when you've moved from peace over into pain. I'm trying to remember what. Drama was one of them.
Ugh, I feel like having to dig all this up from your memory and having to like say it out loud, like, oh God, she's probably in so much pain right now. Hi, Jenny. How are you doing today? What do you think about Melina? She's cool. Kids are home. Gotta go. Bye. Have fun. Jodi's daughter not only just dropped contact, but also change. Oh, yes, I did hear about that too. Change her last name to the father's. What I wondered was, why did Jodi Hildebrandt keep her last name? I heard that she was only married to her, to the Hildebrandt husband for about like a year or two or something. I think, she was pregnant with like the second child. And then a year after that, or 2 years, they like separated and divorced. So I always wondered, why did she end up keeping the Hildebrandt last name? Or maybe it was just too pain in the ass to go back to your it's like your maiden name, maybe.
I had mentioned love and lust. Also makes me want to gag. She's had a bunch of these, right? They were one right after the other. And so when you understood those, you would be able to see like, oh, well, I'm not in a state of love. I'm in a state of lust. And so I'm in the place of pain or distortion. And then I need to get over into peace or truth. So she was training me on how to recognize my own behaviors, right? That's ultimately what was happening. And because of that teaching, I started recognizing the behaviors of my children. And I could see when they were hurting, and I could see when they were feeling like they weren't enough, or insecurity was coming in, and different things. And then how this manifested in marriage was, I started recognizing when I was off, and Johnny started recognizing when he was off, and then we would communicate and have these conversations of recognizing, oh.
So Johnny's her husband.
Well, it was when this is what I misunderstood, and when I thought that, this is where I went, and then.
Oh, is it her maiden name? Wait, sorry. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Why did I think that was not her maiden name? Yeah, because Jodi's older brother is a Hildebrandt. No, you're right. Yeah, you're completely right. Sorry. I was confused for a second.
Okay, this is what I heard, and this is why I went there. And so overall, it just increased the ability to communicate within my household.
Right? Hold on a second. Yeah, because Jessie is the daughter of Jodi's older brother. Okay. No, I was just very confused for a second there. I don't know why for a second for a little bit, I thought Jessie was Jodi's ex-husband's brother's. Okay, yeah. No, I was completely confused.
I was grateful for it.
Sorry, we'll go back.
When I was off, and Johnny started recognizing when he was off, and then we would communicate and have these conversations of recognizing, oh, well, it was when this is what I misunderstood, and when I thought that, this is where I went, and then, okay, this is what I heard, and this is why I went there. And so overall, it just increased the ability to communicate within my household, and I was grateful for it. So that's 2017, that's 2018. I'm here in 2024 having completely separated myself from any of those teachings, from anything, because what I recognized the problem became early on was I found something good, but then that good thing became my God. And in the process of that, I recognize how easy that is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take somebody with a low IQ to be manipulated by, let's just say, a cult leader. Mm-hmm.
Has it ever happened to you guys before where like you find like a new person and then they like spew a bunch of teachings at you and then you kind of just like eat it all up so quickly? And it only takes about like a couple weeks where you're like, wait a second, hold on a second. Is this bullshit? Oh my God, this might be bullshit. And then you kind of like that happens to me sometimes where I'm like, I'll like listen to like someone on YouTube and I'm like, oh my God, like this sounds really good. And then I notice that they expand to other things and others. I'm like, oh my God, this like all sounds like pretty cool. And then like the more that like, I don't know, like a couple weeks or a couple months down, I'm just like, wait a second, I think this is like, is this just bullshit? It might just be bullshit. Oh my God, it might be brainwashed. Hi, Luna B. How are you doing today? Not brainwashed, but am I just being too gullible? So this is Paige Hanna, and the reason why she's speaking out about this now and she's coming out of like the woodworks maybe, is because Kevin and Frankie brought up her and her husband during the second interview with the police. They mentioned that Ruby Franke was friends with the Hannas, which is them right here, which is her and her husband. And maybe they kidnapped Jodi Hildebrandt. Maybe they didn't. Maybe Jodi tried to seduce her husband. We don't know.
It just takes the desire to become a better person and somebody to come and manipulate it. So whether you just want the approval of a boss or a pastor or a friend that you think is better than you, or you
yeah, and I could totally see this happening in religion. Like if there's like someone in like the church that is, doesn't have good intentions, they can take that and try to manipulate you. Like, oh my God. But that could happen like anywhere else, like as she mentioned.
And somebody to come and manipulate it. So whether you just want the approval of a boss or
that happens sometimes with friends. Oh my God, yes, I've gotten duped by some people before. There was this one person that I was friends with, and I was like, oh, this person's like so cool. They're so knowledgeable. For some reason, they always knew how to answer things. Like, yeah, they seem really smart. But then I started realizing that when I would ask them questions, it always would take them like if we're like in a back and forth, right? And I would say something. It would take like a couple minutes before they replied back. And then I start realizing that they would quickly research everything to make it seem like they were extremely knowledgeable about the subject, the topic. And they would come back to me as if like they were like an impressive person. I don't know. There's just some people out there who are like extreme people pleasers to the max and compulsive liars. Okay. Cause like that was coupled with compulsive lying. Like they would lie about so many things. And then they would do like a lot of like really quick, like just kind of like on the surface research. And then later on, when I would do like a deeper dive on something, I would realize I'm like, oh my God, this person's just bullshit. Oh my God, they're just fucking bullshit. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with Googling, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, you can't pretend that you're like a fucking expert on a subject when you really aren't. You're only trying to do it because you want to impress the other person. Like that was like so fucking weird. I don't know. What a weird fucking person. And then I found out they were like compulsive lying on like so many other things. And like, I don't know. Ugh, compulsive liars. Wayne, have a good night. Take care. But yeah, usually the compulsive liars, I probably have been getting better at detecting them, but usually those will kind of, it'll take me a little bit to kind of like smell you out. Hi, Dominique. How are you doing today? Compulsive liars be really fun to mess with. I don't know. That's like a waste of my time. I'm like, what's the point of building this relationship when most of it's just based on a lie? But yeah, well, I see what you're saying, Nicole. I would absolutely love to know how Lori, oh God, Lori. How Lori feels about Ruby Franke taking the limelight from her as a new crazy Mormon cult mom who used God as an excuse to hurt her children. Listen, Lori Vallow was just in La La Land, okay? She's just in La La Land. I don't know if she even knows what's going on in the world.
a pastor or
she's just waiting to be reunited with her God, Chad Daybell, okay? Her delicious Hercules looking man. I couldn't even say with a straight face. I'm sorry. I want to throw up. Oh gosh. Oh, oops.
It doesn't take somebody with a low IQ to be manipulated by, let's just say, a cult leader. It just takes the desire to become a better person and somebody to come and manipulate it. So whether you just want the approval of a boss or a pastor or a friend that you think is better than you or you perceive as on a pedestal, you are in danger of dropping your own character and integrity to appease that other person. And that's what Jodi was masterful at. That I can see from my 2024 perspective, but my 2018 perspective was very naive and just, this is so good. This is so helpful. I have some tools that will help my family. And oh, look, it is helping my family. So I think it could help your family too. And because multiple people were having this experience, then multiple people were bringing others into the same teachings. Here is a parenting class. Here is I think she called it a
word of mouth. Oh God.
101 class, which was just basic therapy principles to help you with whatever you're going through. There were college students in it. There were older couples. You had an array of people who were just seeking.
Wait, Dibs, hold on. Anti-trans rights ex-friend was arguing about facts and spewing the usual propaganda and so much BS I couldn't keep up with. Someone else who was there that night said they were using ChatGPT. Listen, okay, I had a friend. It was funny because the person I was talking about, the compulsive liar, this was his wife. She also, I don't know, it was really weird. It was so weird to see two compulsive liars and people pleasers in a relationship because they would try to one up each other. Right. And I always thought it was weird, but I was like, they're just like competitive. Maybe this is their way of like, you know, just like keeping their marriage like juicy, fresh or something like that. But they would always try to one up each other. And I realized that it was just like bullshit on bullshit on bullshit on bullshit. It was like so crazy to see it happen. So she would also come out as if she was like really knowledgeable about like certain things. And I would be like, because for me, it's like, I don't tend to say things if I don't really know it, you know, like I don't want to be like 100% certain on something. If I don't really know, if I'm unsure, right? I'll usually be like, oh, I think, or like maybe it's this, like I'll kind of like speak a little bit more loose. But she would always speak very aggressively as if like she knew 100% sure that she was correct and right. And then I would realize that she just really didn't. And then I would like look up things and be like, oh, okay, she's just completely wrong. I don't know. Those type of people annoy me like a lot too. Compulsive liars, and then people who act like know-it-alls, but they really don't know anything. Yeah. Anyways, but it was like really, yeah, what up? I don't know. I just thought they were just competitive, and you know that's their way of just keeping it. I don't know, man. Maybe keep it hot and sexy or something. But yeah. Anyways, Instagram is full of it, and it's so easy to suss out for me. I don't know. Instagram, I feel like it's just you're just seeing like a glimpse of like someone's life, you know, like the best and the highlights, I guess. Yeah, I have some of the same thing right now with another friend. It's conflicting, especially if you like them. Yeah, no, I really liked her too because I tend to like people with a very strong personality. And she was like a little bit aggressive, which I think was really funny, but she was very, very exhausting. Like she drained the shit out of me. And those are the type of people that I tend to not want to be friends with anymore because when I want to hang out with you, I want to like have fun and stuff like that. I don't want to sit there and be your fucking armchair therapist and have you drain the shit out of me. But aside from all the downsides, everything else about her was like pretty cool. But yeah, I had to cut her off though, unfortunately. Hey, Eleanor, how are you doing today? You can see how Paige perceived these teachings with grace and empathy, and Ruby used it to condemn and punish, and Jodi as well. And Jodi.
I have some tools that will help my family, and oh, look, it is helping my family. So I think it could help your family too. And because multiple people were having this experience, then multiple people were bringing others into this.
I'm on YouTube chat and Google stuff. I usually tell chat to Google because I'm not that smart. I mean, it depends on like how you use that knowledge, right? For me, it was more like what I would talk to, like, let's say that one friend that I was talking about initially, we would be like, say for example, would be like in an argument, and then they would try to win the argument by like, it's okay to Google, but they made it seem like they were an expert on it. But then when I realized that like, oh, you know, if you're not really like, it's like someone who like reads headlines to argue with you instead of like actually going deep dive into like a paper or like an article or something like that. I don't know. It was like really fucking annoying. And they wanted to like impress, and they were like a people pleaser, and it was like a compulsive liar thing, and it was all mixed together, and it was like Jodi, she married 5 times. I don't know if I remember that. Did she?
Same teachings. Here is a parenting class. Here is I think she called it a 101 class, which was just basic therapy principles to help you with whatever you're going through. There were college students in it. There were older couples. You had an array of people who were just seeking help, and then you had some very basic understandings of how to help you recognize your thoughts to then move into a place of peace. Okay. Over time, I recognize that Jodi purposely put herself on a pedestal, not just so you would see her as a god, but because she believed she was a god.
She was a lioness goddess riding out into the sunset.
I know it's evident how narcissistic she is, but truly, to the nth degree narcissistic, and was masterful with the manipulation, was masterful with carefully laying the steps for you to desire what she was teaching and then to desire to please her. Johnny and I never saw Jodi as a therapist. I took a parenting class, thought it was great. He took the parenting class, thought it was great. And then he and I were asked to serve on the board of her company. Johnny had experience with creating different businesses, and we thought, what a great way to help the mental health of others by supporting this business.
Now, remember what I said when we were going through the Connections Instagram? The Connections Instagram had a lot of like very generic like posters that were made. There were no pictures of real people. It was just like generic posters, generic like blah, 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 blah. Everything was really generic. And it wasn't until, boom, the only real humans that we saw in their posts were Johnny and Paige. I don't think even did Jodi Hildebrand even put herself on the Connections? Let me see. Oh boy, let's look up Instagram. Connections Instagram. Is this it? Connections coaching? Oh god. Close your eyes, guys. I wish there was a way to sort it and then do older posts first. Because I think she was being really masterful here. She got people that were influential in her community to propel this whole connection shit. So I think like she somehow got to Paige and Johnny Hanna, because they were, I think by that time they already had their own company. They created a company called Homie, which is like a real estate company in the area. And then from then on, that was bridged to, the 8 Passengers, like YouTubers, which is a huge audience for Jodi Hildebrand. It's like, she was like, and it was smart of her too to get, oh no, she did post her stuff. Okay. So like, this is what I'm talking about. Like all this like generic shit, like just, these are all like generic stuff, right? For the Connections. Let me go back down. All this generic stuff. Oh, this is where it is. Okay. And we went through this before. So here's like all the generic shit, blah, blah, blah. You don't really see real people. These are like stock photos. We have some quotes. More stock photos. And see, we never really saw Jodi Hildebrand's face. I don't know why. But the first real people that she ends up putting on her Instagram were these people. It's Paige and Johnny Hanna. Because she's like, oh, these are people who are like probably pillars in the community. I'm going to use their influence. I'm going to use their community base to try to like spread the Connections, coaching program to like other people. So we see like Johnny, Paige, Hanna. And then finally, we see a picture of Jodi Hildebrand. Maybe she felt insecure. I don't know. Or maybe she just wanted to make sure, like, it seems like it was boasted by people that were like well known before she was going to plaster her face on here. But it wasn't until we see them. Now we see Jodi Hildebrand. Scrub up a little bit. And boom. Now we see Ruby and Kevin Franke. And then now we start seeing more people. I don't know who these people are. But we have Kevin Franke and Ruby right there, who are, like YouTubers, huge audience. And then Paige and Johnny Hanna, and I think they had the Homies at the time, like a real estate company. So she was trying to get these like established people to be like the face of the Connections brand. Because as you keep scrolling up, you just keep seeing more posts about like, here's Paige and Johnny Hanna right here, right? Paige and Johnny Hanna, generic photos, generic photos, generic photos. Is this a generic photo? I don't know. It looks like a generic photo. Keep going up. More generic photos. And then we finally have more Jodi. Maybe she's feeling more confident. She's like, okay, I'm going to start plastering my face on this. And then boom, we have Paige and Johnny Hanna. Oh, Brandon. Hello. Thank you so much for joining the rejoining the membership. Hi. Thank you so much for being a member for 15 months. I appreciate your support. How are you? Haven't been around much. Just wanted to say hello. How have you been? What have you been up to lately? And then we got Ruby right here. We got Kevin. And so I guess Jodi's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. So we have pictures of Jodi on here. Maybe she's becoming more established. We have more Paige Hanna. And then now we're starting to see more pictures of like other people in the community that seem to be pretty well known. I wonder who Pam Bochner was before being a president of Connections. Like what does anyone know what like Pam Bochner, what she does? What does she do? Or what does she do? No, what does she what does she do? Oh gosh. And then now we're starting to see like all these pictures and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I just think it's like really, really, really interesting. Because Jodi's like, ooh, I got the Hannas in my program. Let me hook them in. Let me ask them to be board members. Ooh, hold on a second. Ooh, I can get the 8 passengers people. Yes, let's hook them in too and like make them like the fucking poster child of like connections.
I took the parenting class, thought it was great. He took the parenting class, thought it was great. And then he and I were asked to serve on the board of her company. Johnny had experience with creating different businesses.
Is she part of LDS? I'm actually not really quite sure on that. If her and Johnny are part of LDS.
And we thought, what a great way to
LDS. No, oh, I thought it said LDS, not LSD.
help the mental health of others by supporting this business. We were not paid. It was all volunteer. And over time, we saw the best solution to teaching these helpful tools was to find coaches who were already within the program, already understood it, already benefited from it, to then become coaches and go out and teach.
I went through parts of one of Jodi's books. That video is up on my YouTube channel. But Jodi has written a lot of books, I think. I think there's a lot of like workshops and books and stuff that she has. I haven't gone through those yet. And I know there's a book, I think that, didn't she write a book with Ruby Franke, if I remember correctly? But I went through one of her books and most of it is just kind of like, just connections. Like, I don't know. I felt like she needed to hire someone to ghostwrite it because it didn't really read very well. It was just like ranting, and she would use like a lot of capitalizations, like all caps, lots of exclamation marks, if I remember correctly. It was just like, what am I reading? This is like not professional. It's like your fucking diary or something. But the parts where she did talk about her personal life, I did do a YouTube video about that and went through those because I just want to know, who the fuck is Jodi Hildebrand? Where does she come from? How did she brainwash so many people? No, I did not. Let me see. Amazon. Ruby Franke book. Remember, they have a book together, but they're not business partners, okay? Oh, the Rings of Responsibility. Oh, is this it? Oh no. The Rings of Responsibility. I know who I am. I manage myself. I manage myself in my home. I manage myself with friends. I manage myself in the world. Jodi Hildebrand, MS, Ruby Franke. What does the back say? Let me cringe. Let me make this bigger. A tree requires a root system, just as a joyful, connected life requires responsibility. A tree evidences maturity by its rings of growth. A human evidences maturity by living principles inside the rings of responsibility. It's $32 for a hardcover. No way. How many pages is this? It's 145 pages. Oh Lord. $32 for hardcover. $19 for a paperback. Jeez, that is expensive. Yeah, the book that I read from Jodi was You Are Not Enough, which just looks like you are not enough. There's another book where it says Arming the Next Generation with Weapons of Truth. Oh God. Oh, what are the reviews says? In more insane brain droppings, A Ring of Lies, basically a manual for the criminally insane. These are recent reviews though. World famous authors, don't waste your time. Child neglect, abuse, and torture. Yeah, people went on there and put the reviews on there. Yeah, I saw that YouTube had it. It was like a workbook. It was like about 150 pages. $32 for the. Why is this book still up? Ooh. Yee. You know what book I would be interested to have in my possession? The Becky Hill book. I should have gotten it when it was on sale. I was like, yeah, I'll probably just read it later. And then boom, they took it down from the Amazon store because of plagiarism. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on the Becky Hill book though. I would not mind. Was there someone else that also wrote a book that I was kind of interested? Oh no, actually no, this was Dan Markel's mom. I did want to read that book. Ruth Markel wrote a book about all the stuff that she's gone through so far in the past, like 10 plus years. I wanted to read her book.
The benefit of that was that Jodi, through time had started becoming more
The fact that she just can't call it "you are enough" is a red flag of how she manipulates language. I didn't even think about that, Ardor. Hello. Hello, Ardor. How are you doing today?
who were already within the program, already understood it, already benefited from it, to then become coaches and go out and teach. The benefit of that was that Jodi, through time, had started becoming more harsh. Instead of, like I had explained, instead of saying like, oh, if they're in a state of distortion, then they must be in pain. Like, how can I help you? You're in pain. Mm-hmm. It was like, well, you're obviously in distortion. It was gross. I'll just bleep out every time I use the word if it's helpful. And so there was a gigantic lack of compassion, and that was just known by everybody. Nobody questioned it. It was hard to question this person who taught you everything. But everybody just knew, like, well, when I do phone calls with people and help them or talk to them as friends, I'm compassionate. I can just say like, oh, I'm sorry, you're in pain. What do you think happened? Or how are you doing? And we thought if we could help this business to have these coaches, then we could get Jodi out of the way, and these coaches would very much be.
Oh, so I wonder if Jodi caught wind of this. If she caught wind of the Hannas trying to, build up that connections business, but to ultimately at the very end, like oust her out of it, I guess. And maybe she caught wind of it, and that's why she had to come out with this whole, oh my God, I was kidnapped for 6 weeks, in order to get people to feel bad for her and then to like turn on the Hannas maybe. I don't know. I really do wonder what was the drama that went down. I'm just speculating here. Also, what did I want to say? She was saying something earlier about like compassion. Oh yeah, that's right. Because she was saying how that when she would talk to these people, she would like have a lot of compassion for them. But I could totally see Jodi. I mean, of course, she's not going to have compassion because her goal was to manipulate. Her goal was to gain control. She had like ulterior motives that were seems to be hidden very well. And it wasn't until people were starting to kind of like see that maybe, and that's why they like turned against her. But I could totally understand if there was like a bunch of people that were like Jodi Hildebrandt worshippers. There's probably nothing you can say to get through to them. And then Ruby Franke would have been one of them.
Able to show compassion, show understanding. Unfortunately, the majority of the people who...
Oh, wait, really? I know a couple of people who are Mormons. They stay away from this subject. They say that's not our church. They won't speak on it. Wait, what do you mean? Like... Sorry, if you're Mormon, are you always part of LDS, or is LDS just one of the churches that's Mormon? I actually don't know. Arizona has a huge Mormon community. Lori Vallow lived there. Tear you down and make you rely on her. Yes, Kevin did say that. Hi, Bonnie. How are you doing today? That's what Kevin said, but Kevin did make it clear that he didn't know what the truth was. He just said that Jodi claimed that she was kidnapped, and then the Hannas said that Jodi was like hurting herself and maybe trying to seduce the husband. Ooh. Oh, really? Wait, hold on. Not all Mormons are LDS. Wait, not all Mormons are LDS. All LDS are Mormon. Okay, that makes sense. Wait, Mormons are LDS? It's the same church. They're extremists, but it's still like a church doctrine.
Had worldwide who've had introduction to connections, had it through Ruby, and Ruby never utilized it the way it was originally learned. So this is the part where it's really interesting, because I guess it seems like, I guess I want to know the timeline of when she was in Connections and when she pulled Ruby into Connections. Like, what was the timeline on that? Like, how far apart were they? Or was it just that they joined around the same time, but Ruby Franke just took the Connections teachings and kind of just like strayed from it, or made it in a way that wasn't, to her, like compassionate, I guess. show compassion, show understanding. Unfortunately, the majority of the people who had worldwide who've had introduction to connections had it through Ruby, and Ruby never utilized it the way it was originally learned. So you automatically assume that everybody who ever learned it abuses their children and hates their spouse. And where
the hates the spouse part, yes. Because remember, Kevin said that when he went to like one of the meetings, he was like, "Oh my god, like this is so weird." I came to like the meetings, it was a bunch of like man haters, but it felt really weird because there were people that I respected that went up on stage and talked. I was surrounded by them. On the website, yes. Also on the website, she claims to have a stalker, aka Adam Steed, hence she gained. Yes, see, that's what I was saying. I think what she ended up doing was she was a compulsive liar, and she would embellish things. And she would get people's sympathy that way. Like, oh my God, I have these demons. They're after me. Like, oh my God, like I have these nightmares. I'm being tormented. I need your help. Or like, oh my God, I have a stalker. You know, I need help. I need help. And oh boy, I think she knew how to manipulate people. I think she knew how to get people to feel sorry for her. The church doesn't want to be called Mormon anymore. It wants to be the Latter-day Saints.
It was originally learned. So you automatically assume that everybody who ever learned it abuses their children and hates their spouse, and where there probably are people who abuse their children and have hated their spouse, it had good seeds. And anything that has good seeds has the ability to lead you away if you make it your God. Fortunately, I had enough of a relationship with my own higher power that as Jodi grew in her control and in her desire to bring pain to people, enough people were like, something's off, this isn't making sense, and we're already going a different direction. I think that's where I want to leave it for now, because it gets ugly.
Hi, Kay.
And it takes a turn, and that's going to be a really emotionally hard thing to go through. I was still in that state of like, this is good. This has really helped me when I met Ruby in 2018. And thought it would benefit her life. She had told me she wanted to change some of the parenting things that she was doing, and needed more help with patience and understanding and compassion, and I really thought it would help. So that's the intro to my introduction into connections. I'm going to be explaining how things shifted, and then ultimately ended. And
hi, Paul. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I didn't pause. I didn't want to do her like that. Pausing mid-blink.
Yeah.
Hey Paul, how are you doing today? How's it going? So we covered the Hanna retrial, the sentencing yesterday. Today, we're just talking about, are you familiar with like the Jodi Hildebrandt, Ruby Franke case? We're kind of like adjacent to that. I recommend people like Mormon Stories, Nuance Ho, Jordan McKay, if you want to learn about how crazy the actual church doctrine is. Yeah, Mormon Stories, I started watching because of the interview with Adam Paul Steed and Jesse Hildebrandt. Were they able to put Adam's story back up on Mormon Stories by any chance? Do you guys know? Nuance Ho, that's like the funniest freaking thing I've ever seen in a while. That's going to be my new Overwatch name. Do you guys believe her? to me, she does come across as genuine. I think when she was in her thought trying to recall her memory, it seems like she was doing that genuinely and not like scripted and pretending to do it. So to me, so far, it comes off pretty genuine, I would say. And yeah, I don't know. I do want to watch like the rest of her videos. But what are your guys' thoughts on Paige Hanna? Did you think she came off as genuine? You think she's just trying to save her own ass? But to me, it seems pretty genuine. And I did see a post that I think it was like a post that she did with like Shari Franke, where she posted a picture of her and Shari. So it seems like maybe her and Shari have a good relationship. Seems genuine to me. Dominique says, I don't think so. I feel like she's more sincere than Bonnie was. I think Bonnie is just like she's just very emotional right now. I don't know. I think Bonnie is maybe the type of person who wears her emotions on her sleeves, maybe. I did feel bad for Bonnie though. I don't know. I think Bonnie just needs to not like, oh, you know what, Bonnie? Remember when I told you guys this when we were watching Bonnie's video? I was like, Bonnie needs to hire someone to just scrub through her like comment section, okay? Or have someone that's like, hey, here are like the good comments. You can read these. Or here are like the constructive criticisms. You can read these, right? Bonnie needs to do what Paige Hanna did. Paige Hanna, I think she disabled the comment section, which, whatever. But if you're going to email her, there is someone that goes through her emails to make sure that she gets like the emails that are maybe like positive and the ones that like maybe has constructive criticism or like genuine questions, right? I think that's what Bonnie needs to take that approach. Bonnie needs to take the Paige Hanna approach. Bonnie needs to not go through the negative comments in Instagram, Facebook, wherever it is that she's browsing through, because that is going to really mind fuck you. Okay. Just, I don't know, Bonnie, take the Paige Hanna approach. Tell Bonnie I said that. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but we could do a recap on it. I have the summary up on Reddit. I don't know if I want to watch. I might I haven't watched the stream yet. It's like 2.5 hours. The 2.5 hour stream that Chad did. This is Chad Franke, and people were like asking him questions. He was playing Fortnite. There's also this podcast that Shari Franke was on that I wanted to listen to, but I don't know if I'm going to pre-listen to it first and then just kind of like write the timestamps of where she talked about things that we might find interesting. So I don't know. It's like, should we watch it together or should we just? I don't know, do you want me to pre-watch it for you and then just go to the parts where it's like interesting? Bonnie's always whining. I've only seen, I think like that was like the only video that was the only video that I've seen of Bonnie's. I haven't seen her other videos. Chad said he thinks Jodi's a lesbian, and when you look at the pictures of them, they look very close. Yeah, I've seen the pictures. They went to Mexico to get pharmaceuticals. I heard about that. Yeah, this is the summary. I'll just read the summary for you guys if you guys don't know. But then I was thinking maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll do like maybe I could just do like a video and then we can just get to the part. So we don't have to like watch the 2.5 hour stream, I guess. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw some of it. So here are the main Q&As. This is from the 8 Passengers Reddit. Gotta ask how long he thinks Ruby and Judith should be in prison. Wait, who is Judith? Like Judith. Is Judith a bad person in the Bible? Right? Judith? Is Judith the one that portrays Jesus, or am I just completely fucking that up? Mormon Stories has 2 of Jodi's victims, Adam Paul Steed and... Oh, there's a Brian Tibbetts. I have not heard of Brian Tibbetts before. When did that video come out? Oh, I'm thinking of Judas. Oh. Okay, yeah, Judas. Okay. Was it a typo? Why did they say Judith? Is that her real name? No, actually, it's not her real name. It would have been in the court documents. Okay, got asked how long he thinks Jodi, Ruby, and Judith should be in prison. He said Ruby till E is at least 18. E is like, what, 12? Jodi should never be released. He got asked a few times about the timeline for him and Kevin moving. Was it the same day, same time, or same day? Yes, moved out together. Is that what TG stands for? Together? When I first read this, I read it as Thanksgiving. Wait, is it Thanksgiving or together? I don't know. Does he still talk to Bonnie and other aunts and uncles? Yes, he said they have been helpful, and even said he wants to Laurent his children, how Joel parents his and looks up to him. Laurent? What's a Laurent? I don't know what Laurent means. Wants to something his children? Parent. Oh God. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Wants to parent his children, how Joel parents his and looks up to him. Okay. Joel, is Joel Ruby's brother? Or is that one of the sisters' husband? I'm glad that you guys are here. Wait, are they Reddit acronyms? Are they Reddit acronyms, or is this person just, or is it not normal? I mean, like for TG. Oh, thank God. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what TG stands for. They say Jodi was possessed. Both. Okay, you guys can help me then. He was asked a question I didn't really understand, but I think it was about if one of his friends was gay. He said he doesn't know, but he wouldn't care if he was. Asked about how he felt about his grandparents' letter, and he said he wouldn't have published it, but that he kind of agrees, but their timing was very wrong and it was too soon. The grandparents' letter? Is that the one that they wrote for Ruby Franke for sentencing, or is this a different letter? Maybe I should just watch the stream. Was asked something along the lines of how did he feel about Shari? He said at first he didn't get on with her because she was sharing stuff on Instagram and saying things about the family, and they felt it was blaming Ruby for things she didn't do. But now he understands she was right. He was asked if Kevin was an addict. He said no, that was just a plot from Jodi. He was asked a strange question, kind of like, can Mormons masturbate? He said they only believe in sex after marriage between man and woman, which I thought was strange given his answer about his friend. He was asked if he thought Jodi was a lesbian. He said yes. He was asked a few questions about his younger siblings, but he explained he can't answer. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll just watch it and I'll just do a recap of it myself. Maybe I'll do that. This person has typinitis like myself. Yes, Judas was one of the Jesus disciples who betrayed Jesus for some pieces of silver. It's really sad. He hangs himself in guilt and shame. It was one of Jesus' most beloved disciple. I wouldn't mind watching the stream because we get context that way. Because I think when he's, let me see, he's like playing video games. That's why. And then Twitch is not like YouTube. Their player sucks. I don't know. I feel like it's just not as good. Here, I could unmute it. But
I agree. I absolutely hate the new elements. They are so bad in the game.
Yeah, because I think initially he was just trying to play this Fortnite game, and then it probably ended up getting like derailed. So, yeah, I think for him I'll do timestamps and then we can watch it together. How about that? Oh, really? These are posts on Reddit asking what are all the acronyms are. Wait, there is. Teach us. Yeah, Twitch is better for live. I mean, honestly, even for live, it's annoying because if you want to, for YouTube, I can just rewind what someone says. But on Twitch, you can't even rewind it. I don't know. Twitch is just Twitch just sucks. Okay, it just sucks. It's annoying. It just sucks. I'll get the timestamp so we're not here forever, I guess. And then we'll watch it together. How about that? And then also Shari was on a podcast, this podcast here. And I don't know if it's like mostly just like Shari talking about religion, but I think it'd be really cool to talk about like Shari's like life now, like where she's at, like how she's like kind of like coping with things, with like, you know, her relationship with like her religion and stuff like that. I don't know, I think it'd be kind of interesting to listen to that. Which kind of seems like breaking free from the learned norm, which sounds interesting. Shari Franke's story, personal empowerment, and finding a relationship with Jesus. I don't know, seems kind of interesting. Kind of see where she's like at with that. But I think there'll be like maybe a different stream. For today, I'm gonna open the door. Oh my God, it's hot in here. It's hot in here. Shiru? Cheryl's under my desk. Kicked my camera. Cheryl, you want to move? Oh, wait. Did you guys see do you see the Discord post? There's a corgi. Look at this guy. He's so cute. There's a corgi that popped up in the shelter, which is very rare. I never see corgis in a shelter. Oh, thank you so much. Bobby Cat on my lunch break. I just want to say hello and thanks for covering this. Hey, Bobby Cat, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the $4.99. Thanks for hanging out with us on your lunch break. What are you eating for lunch today? The camera operator. He was the camera operator. I wanted to show you guys, like, look how adorable. Look at this corgi. His name is shit, what was his name again? It's Bark Twain. Yeah, his name is Bark Twain. He's so cute. So adorable. I'm gonna go see him today after I end stream. But I don't know. I hope he gets along with Shiro, and I hope Shiro gets along with him. But I don't want a second dog though. Oh God, I don't know. I'm gonna go see him. We'll see. He's so cute. He's so adorable. I don't think he's like a full on corgi though. His legs be looking a little bit long. Bark Twain. I know, what a cute name. Hopefully he doesn't bark a lot though. That would be no. Okay. But yeah, he's so cute. Bark Twain. Dog needs buddies. I don't know. I think Shiro kind of likes being the solo dog. I feel like he's a lot more thriving after Steve died. He's like, yay, it's all about me. I keep saying I wanted to get him a friend though, but he doesn't get along with a lot of dogs. So we'll have to see. All right, y'all. So I want to read Kevin Franke's what's it called? Complaint against Jodi. So he's going to go after Jodi Hildebrandt. Now, Jodi Hildebrandt, if you guys remember, her house is on sale. Now, it seems like the judge overseeing it, I don't know if it's like a different judge or what, but there's a judge that said Jodi can't do anything with her property until after sentencing. And it's after sentencing now. So this is her house where everything happened. And it was initially listed for like, what, $5,300,000? Was that? It was at 5.3. Yeah, 5.3. This was in the beginning of January. But there has been a price change. 327. Wait, was that after the sentencing? Hold on a second. When was her sentencing? I think it was like that date or before that. Jodi Hildebrandt sentencing date. Was it in February? Oh, never mind. Just it was in February. Okay, so about a month after sentencing, they decided to do a price adjustment. So if anyone has, less than 5 million, it's up for sale. It's listed for $4,995. Hi, Fire. How are you doing today? How's it going? She's got her house for sale. And I remember reading this article right here. Kevin Franke files for restitution after Jodi Hildebrandt's $5 million home hits the market. A judge ruled Wednesday that Hildebrandt could not take action regarding her 10,000, holy crap, square foot home before her February 20 sentencing. Kevin Franke, last week, less than a month after she pleaded guilty to 4 counts of child abuse against 2 of the Franke children, they were arrested. Kevin Franke filed for divorce from Ruby in November after the couple had been separated for about a year. I wonder if that divorce is going to get finalized. On January 12th, Kevin filed a temporary restraining order to establish restitution from Hildebrandt, requiring that she not be able to liquidate or transfer her personal assets before sentencing. On Wednesday, 5th District Court Judge John Walton ruled that Hildebrandt may not take any action regarding the property until her February 20 sentencing. Walton also set a preliminary injunction review hearing for February 1st, court document states. Okay. So that's her house. It's still for sale. Let's read this complaint. Now, I just want to give you guys just a heads up. So this complaint is going to do a summary of the abuse that the children went through. Just a heads up for you guys. You did not like Kevin. He was there and watched and took part in a lot of this, acting like he had no idea. I do not like how he's being portrayed as a victim, says Outcast. $5 million. I got $5 for down payment. I don't know what the interest rates right now. I don't know. Just pay cash. I think the interest rates are still like really high right now, right? Dominique says, Kevin, with an exclamation mark. I want to know about the made-up kidnapping Jodi made up. I just want the details. Right, Eleanor? So Paige Hanna did not cover that in her video, but she did say that she plans on making potentially other videos, and I look forward to hearing it. Yeah, I want to see what she's going to say about that. All right. Kevin Franke, by and through counsel of record, Randy S. Kester. So that's his lawyer. When was this filed again? Was it a couple days ago? For the cause of action against the defendant, complaints and alleges as follows. 1. Plaintiff is a resident of Utah County, state of Utah, and was so during the time in which the defendant's tortious conduct occurred as hereinafter alleged and set forth. Defendant is currently a resident of state of Utah and was so during the time of her tortious conduct alleged herein. Defendant currently resides at Utah State Prison. So I'm guessing they're not at purgatory anymore. Where they've been transferred, right? The defendant's tortious conduct occurred in Washington County, state of Utah. The court has jurisdiction over the parties and subject matter of this action, and proper venue is in this court. Facts and general allegations. Oh, hold on a second. Did I mix up pathological liars and compulsive liars? Sounds more like a pathological liar. You know what? I think that's what I was thinking. I think I had it mixed up in my brain for a second there. I forgot that there was also another category of pathological liars. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing today? Sounds like a pathological liar. Pathological liars have a clear, usually self-serving motive behind their lies. In comparison, compulsive liars just lies for no clear reason. Oh, yes. Pathological liar. That's exactly what I was thinking of then. Thank you. There's a link about her license probation interview in Discord. She mentions all the stalking and shit during her interview with the agency. Oh, did you guys post it recently? He doesn't even have the kids and he's suing for money already. I don't know. It's my understanding if he's suing, I don't know. I guess like maybe he's suing on behalf of the children. So if he is awarded money, maybe the money goes to the custodian of the children. I'm not really quite sure. It seems, oh, wait, hold on a second. You're right. Because it says Kevin Franke versus Jodi Hildebrand. Huh. And he doesn't have custody of the... Yeah, actually, I don't fucking know. Because you would think... Because this kind of seems like if they won, it would be him that would be awarded the money, not the children. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I am not quite sure about that. I'll have to Google this up later and be an expert about it. You posted a few minutes ago? Okay. The plaintiff... Wait, yeah, I'm actually very confused. Why is... I thought it was a lawsuit. Can you file a lawsuit on behalf of someone else? Wouldn't that just be like an attorney doing it? Huh. The plaintiff is the father of 4 minor children. AF, JF, RF, and EF. While plaintiff was residing in Utah County beginning on or about May 22nd, 2023, defendant, in collaboration with the plaintiff's then wife, Ruby Franke, also mother of these 4 children, moved the 4 minor children to defendant's home in Ivins, Utah. Neither defendant nor Ruby Franke advised plaintiff of their removal of the children from the family home in Springfield, Utah to defendant's home in Ivins. I mean, remember we were like, why didn't you check from the children, Mr. Kevin? For the time period of May 22nd through August 30th, 2023, while at the defendant's home, defendant did intentionally and or recklessly and or negligently, A, wrongfully detain plaintiff's 2 minor children, RF and EF, ages 11 and 9, often confining them to a room in the home or in the basement of the home from which they were not allowed to leave without the permission of the defendant or Ruby Franke. Further, these children were strictly prohibited from leaving the premises of the Ivins home under threat of further or increased punishment described hereinafter or going to jail. Inflicted and allowed another adult to inflict serious physical injuries upon the 2 children in her residence. C. The defendant committed physical torture of RF, who was forced to do physical tasks for hours and days at a time. These included wall sits, carrying boxes full of books, and downstairs and working outside. RF was forced to do labor without shoes and in the summer heat in southern Utah. He was forced to stand in direct sunlight for several days. He was forced to remain outside at all hours of the day and night for extended periods of time. These actions result in repeated and serious sunburns with blistered and sloughing skin. Ugh. RF was denied adequate water several of the days. He was required to remain in the summer heat, and he was punished when he secretly consumed water. Do you guys remember hearing about, where did we hear about this? Was it in the journal entries? No, where did we hear about this? If I remember correctly, E mentioned that she wasn't allowed to drink water and that they would accuse her of stealing water to fucking drink. Okay, water. And they were so strict with her that they would watch her brush her teeth and shut off the water, because apparently when she was brushing her teeth or taking a shower, they accused her of secretly drinking water. Where was this from again? I don't know if it was from the journals, or I feel like it was from something else. Was it the journal? But it was like specifically that, oh, you know what? Was it when they interviewed? It might have been when they, oh, hold on a second. No. I started the 2020 doc, and I think they interviewed, I haven't finished it yet. I forgot all about it. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. But they interviewed one of the law enforcement. I think the female officer, the one who was like talking to Ruby. I think they interviewed her, and I think she was the one that mentioned that when she talked to E would tell her that she couldn't have water and that she'd be accused of drinking water secretly while showering or brushing her teeth. So that's why the women would like watch her like a hawk and like turn off the like the faucet and stuff like that. Yeah, the teeth one. I think that was in the 2020 interview. Because I don't think it was in the journal, and I don't think it was in any of the evidence that was released. But if I remember correctly, I think it was mentioned by law enforcement in the 2020 doc, which I need to actually finish, and maybe I'll just do a recap of it for you guys. If you guys haven't seen it yet. Or I don't know, does everyone have access to the doc, or do you need to have like the streaming service in order to watch it? She cooled down the kids with mop water, not clean water. Oh, was that part of the doc as well? Oh, God. Yeah, because I remember thinking like, oh, maybe the kids were able to drink water when they like shower or like brush their teeth and stuff like that. But Jesus. Arf was denied adequate water several of the days. He was required to remain in the summer heat and was punished when he secretly consumed water. RF was denied sufficient food, and when given food, he was given very plain meals, rice and chicken, while the others in the house ate regular and more flavorful meals. Yeah, it was like rice, chicken, and fucking canned beans. Ugh. Like, just eating that all the time? Like, ugh. RF was isolated from other people, denied all forms of entertainment, including books, notebooks, and electronics. In July, Arf attempted to run away from the compound when he was caught by the defendant Ruby. He was taken home. His hands and feet thereafter were regularly bound, including being tied to multiple weights. Many times, the binding included 2 sets of handcuffs, one on his wrists and one on his ankles. At the time, while Arf was lying on his stomach, ropes were used to tie 2 sets of handcuffs together so that his arms and lower legs were lifted off the ground in a hogtie fashion. These bindings resulted in injuries to his wrists and ankles, where the handcuffs cut through the skin and damaged muscle and tissue. The injuries were treated with homeopathic remedies, cayenne and honey, and covered with duct tape, and the bindings were placed on top of the duct tape. These actions caused severe emotional harm to RF due to the fact that they began in May and escalated throughout the summer months. Additionally, the defendant and another adult regularly sought to indoctrinate RF and convince him that 1. He was evil and possessed. 2. He needed to willingly be obedient and avoid punishment. 3. The punishments were necessary to force him to repent. 4. RF was told that everything that was being done to him were acts of love. K. Both children were present in the home and saw these actions being taken against each day by the defendant and Ruby. In these and the other ways, the defendant caused severe emotional harm to RF and EF. Oh, thank you. Yes, here's some water. Was the mop waters from the journal? I don't know if I remember that. I think pushing the pool. I think I remember that from the journals. We don't have 2020 here on the podcast. Okay, maybe I'll do like a quick little recap of it when I finish watching it. Other than binding and specific instances of abuse, EF was subject to the same treatment as RF. She was isolated and forced to do extreme and demanding physical tasks, remaining outside and denied adequate food and water. Oh, it's so sad. She was like only like 9 years old at the time. I was like remembering myself like, okay, like when was I 9 years old? That's like 4th grade for me. 4th grade, 3rd grade. EF was told these punishments were necessary for her to be obedient and to force her to repent. And were being done to her in order to help her. She was indoctrinated with the idea of the defendant's extreme abusive behaviors towards her were acts of love. EF was also repeatedly told she was evil and possessed. These statements to her by the defendant Ruby Franke convinced EF that she was evil and needed to go through things in order to repent. EF was forced to work outside in the heat barefoot. She was forced to run barefoot on dirt roads for an extended period of time. repeatedly injuring her and sunburning her feet. While examined by medical professionals on August 30th, these wounds were apparent by scabs, blisters, sloughing off of one's skin. EF was physically forced or coerced to jump into a cactus multiple times. On or about August 30, 2023, RF was eventually able to escape from the defendant's home and contacted a neighbor. RF requested food from the neighbor, food, water, and that law enforcement be called so that he could be taken to jail. The latter was requested because he was so indoctrinated by defendant that if he escaped, he would go to jail. Instead of jail, however, of course, he was cared for by the first responders and eventually admitted to the hospital for severe malnourishment, his body being emaciated, and for treatment of his many serious wounds and injuries. On that same day, defendant was arrested at her home. After searching the defendant's home, EF was eventually located in the closet of her home, sitting on the floor. First responders and law enforcement found her emaciated, food-deprived condition, and although conscious, she was so emotionally traumatized and afraid that she would not communicate with them. Only a few hours of reassuring her safety, calming her fears, and offering her food, she ate an entire pizza and part of another, and were able to coax her out of the closet so that she can be taken to the hospital to treat her injuries, malnourishment, and emotional state. As a result of the foregoing, the state of Utah, through the Department of Child and Family Services, took custody of all 4 of the plaintiff's children in order to address professionally the emotional and psychological condition of the children, which had been so seriously and adversely manipulated and indoctrinated, the children residing in separate homes while in state custody. Are they all in separate homes, or do you think like some of the siblings are together? Oh man, I don't know. For me, it'd be so hard for me to be separated from, like, when I was a kid, to be separate from my siblings and then be in like someone's like foreign home by myself. Yes, like you're being taken away from, the abusive mom and her maybe girlfriend or business partner or whatever. But it's also so scary to be like in a new person's home. I hope they're with like really good like people from like the foster care system. The children's personalities, emotions, and psyches were so damaged and altered that it was beyond the father's capability to restore them without professional intervention of the state's resources through the juvenile court. This through rehabilitation and restorative process directed and prescribed by the professionals treating the children. In order to restore his children to his care in the family home, father himself has complied with the court processes and firmly sought his own regimen of professional therapy. Oh, I wonder who's like the professional therapy that he's hiring. In order to coordinate not only the children's treatment providers, but to gain understanding of the children's conditions and needs and how to best facilitate the restoration of all his children back to their former status as happy and healthy individuals and of a happy and intact family in their family home. So I guess like he's saying that he spent money for rehabilitation, for therapy and all that stuff, and he wants like a refund, or I guess he wants to be compensated for that. I guess like, wouldn't it be better to hire an attorney to sue on behalf of the children and get restitution through that rather than him being the one that sues? I guess I'm a little bit confused about that part. The intentional and or negligent acts of defendant have completely damaged and altered for the worse Kevin's marriage. The children's mother is in prison. All of his children... Wait, so is this intention infliction? Wait, hold on a second. Okay, so this is for Kevin. I think this is just for Kevin, right? Because I think if this is for Kevin, then they can do another lawsuit on behalf of the children, right? I don't know. I'm like so fucking confused. I can't say exactly what Chad does. Yeah, I think Chad said that the children are still under state's custody. You hope it's court provided. I don't trust his ability to choose a therapist. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming because he doesn't have custody of them, the state probably does it, right? Because he says through the children's personalities, emotions, psyches were so damaged and altered that it was beyond father's capability to restore them without professional intervention of state's resources through juvenile court. So I think it's probably through the state. So I wonder if the state's paying for it, or does he have to pay for it? I don't know. I'm like confused on that part. I'm assuming it's the state that pays for it because they're not under the custody of Kevin Franke. Okay, so this is what he's getting at. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Plaintiff hereby incorporates, and though fully set forth herein, all the other paragraphs of this complaint. Defendant engaged in severe and intolerable conduct as set forth in this complaint. Defendant acted with reckless disregard of the probability of causing emotional distress of Kevin and to each of Kevin's children. Kevin suffered severe and emotional distress that was caused by defendant's conduct. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's wrongful actions and omissions, Kevin has suffered past and future economic, non-economic damages, pain and suffering, emotional distress, loss of quality of life, and loss of enjoyment of life. Second cause of action, negligent infliction of emotional distress. 25. I'm going to keep going now. Defendant engaged in a conduct that she should have realized involved an unreasonable risk of causing emotional distress to the children, Kevin, and others. I'm a little bit confused, I guess, because now it's talking about the children and Kevin. I would assume this lawsuit, since the plaintiff is Kevin, it would just be just Kevin that's affected, right? And then you would just have another lawsuit for the children, the kids that need to get out of Utah. Defendant's conduct unintentionally caused Kevin to sustain severe emotional distress, characterized by illness or bodily harm or injury. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's wrongful acts and omissions, Kevin has suffered past and future non-economic damages, pain and suffering, emotional distress, loss of quality of life, and loss of enjoyment of life. Third cause of action, negligence. Plaintiff hereby incorporates, blah, blah, blah. 31. Defendant undertook duties and responsibilities with regard to Kevin and the minor children engaged in conduct, and all of which impose under her legal duty to act reasonably and within the scope of acceptable behavior in her interactions with Kevin and the children. Defendant, as detailed in the statements of facts, breached her duty of care and reasonable behavior and conduct. 33. Defendant's breach of duty, negligence caused Kevin economic, non-economic damages that may be established upon proof at trial to include pain and suffering, emotional distress, loss of quality of life, and loss of enjoyment of life. Kevin's entitled to interest in all economic damages and may be established in accordance with the statute providing the same. Jury demand. Plaintiff demands a jury in all issues in this matter that are triable by a jury. Prayer for relief for past, present, future special damages, past, present, future pain and suffering. All past, present, future losses and harms and all their general damages are justified under this cause of action for exemplary punitive damages as might be determined at trial. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of confused. I'm very confused. I am very confused. Initially, it was my understanding that he was suing on behalf of the children, but then I was like, wait a second, but then he doesn't have custody of like some of the children, and how does that work? And like the children aren't listed. Can they not be listed as plaintiffs? I don't know. Huh, okay. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I'll keep an eye on this, I guess. I mean, he didn't see them for over a year by his own choice. It wasn't by his own choice. Says Bonnie. I mean, it seems like what happens with the men that interact with Jodi is that Jodi gets in the way. Jodi convinces the wife to separate the husband and then use like divorce or, you know, other means of like threatening them, right? Whether it's like allegations or like, you know, let's divorce, or I don't know. It seems like Kevin was trying to do everything he can. I don't know if we believe him, right? But based off the interview, Kevin seemed like he was trying to do everything he can to please Jodi and Ruby in order to get things back to normal with his wife. But I mean, I still think he should have, like, I don't know, made efforts to check up on the kids or something. But maybe he didn't want to because he was scared that they were going to cut him off. I don't know. You don't think he'll be getting custody? Yeah, it seems like he's suing for himself, saying all the bad things that were done to the kids gave him emotional distress. Yeah, I mean, I would understand him doing a lawsuit for himself. I could see that. But I also wonder, I don't know, wouldn't it be better to, I don't know, was he not able to do a lawsuit on behalf of the children? Or is it, yeah, I don't know. A lot of questions. Okay. Yes, she had them all under the spell. Yeah, the entire state is run and controlled by the church, and every lawyer and level. Okay. Yeah, because this isn't, I don't know. People say a lot of things about Utah, so I don't know. I wonder, people who are part of the boards of pardon and parole, you know, I wonder how many of those people are part of the church. I don't know. I wonder how that's going to affect anything. Right? I don't know. Is Kevin going to sue Ruby as well? That's what I was saying. Like, is he going to go after Ruby also? There's evidence of her being abusive before Jodi came to the picture. If he would have been obeyed, if he would have disobeyed Jodi, I'm sure there would have been consequences. Yeah. Oh, you did? Yes. Thank you, Rain. Rain's the best. Oh, I did read this, but I kind of want to read this again. Okay, so that's the other episode of Brian Tibbetts. Kevin Franke, the husband of disgrace. Oh my God, let me get all this. Hello, Paige. Oh, get all these ads. If I zoom in enough, all the ads are gone. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? That's a trick. Kevin Franke, the husband of disgraced family vlogger Ruby Franke, has filed a lawsuit against Jodi Hildebrandt, who was convicted alongside his wife for aggravated child abuse last year. Kevin filed the lawsuit in the 4th Judicial District Court for the out of the state of Utah against Jodi Hildebrandt, citing intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and negligence for him and his children. In the court documents obtained by KUTV, Franke claimed that his estranged wife, Ruby, moved their 4 children to Hildebrandt's home in Ivins, Utah without advising him, and that the 2 of his minor children experienced abuse while living there between May 22nd, 2023 and August 20th, 2023. Where does the lawyer start talking? Okay. Randy Kester, Kevin's attorney, told People at the lawsuit, "We filed suit against Jodi Hildebrandt. Couldn't." Okay. See, that's what I was like. We're getting answers. "We filed the suit against Jodi Hildebrandt. Couldn't file for the kids yet because the state still has legal custody, but filed in an effort to preserve Hildebrandt's wealth and assets until appropriate actions can be taken to make the kids whole." Okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That makes sense. It's like, okay, like, let's just like at least get something on the books now and try to like suck that woman's money before anything happens. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I hope he could be a good father to them. I don't know. I never trust when parents are in control of like the children's money. I don't know. There are just parents out there that are just, I guess because like I hear about so many stories about celebrities who were child celebrities and they have parents managing their assets and stuff like that. And then when they get older, they realize that the parents like steal from them. The parents have been like, you know, doing some shady stuff with the money and all kinds of crazy shit. But I just have to hope for the best, right? Okay, and then Jodi. Wait, this is her website? Wait, oh, did someone make this? Oh my god, I thought Jodi made this website. I was like, wait a second, why does Jodi have this website? This is a website someone made for Jodi. Okay. Oh shit! Hold on. What's this? Wait, can I? How do I open this up? Is there a way for me to open this or no? Wait, what is this? Let's read what this is. Oh my god, I've seen a lot of TikToks of people finding out their parents ruined their credit. Yeah, my mom tried doing that to me. She did for a little bit, actually. She did ruin my credit and then she somehow fixed it. I don't know. But yeah, that's like one of the worst too. When you don't really understand financing and then your parents are like, "Hey, let's like, I'll open a bank account for you. You just started working, you're 16 years old. Yeah, let me open a bank account for you and put it under my name and your name." And then you find out that they do like really weird, shady shit with it, and they like write bad checks and all that stuff. Yeah, that happened to me too. Horrible. Okay, what is this? Okay, I want to read this part right here. Okay. Respondent admits the following facts are true. Respondent was first licensed as a professional counselor in the state of Utah on or about July 7, 2005. That's Jodi Hildebrandt. On or about April 10. Wait, during the abuse of Jesse Hildebrandt, was that before or after Jodi got her license? Do you guys remember the timeline? Did Jesse ever give a timeline of when all this happened to her? I know she was like 14 years old. I know she's a little bit younger, or maybe is she a lot younger than me or a little bit younger than me? I don't know. Is she in her 20s? Because I want to know if she got her license before or after Jesse. I'm just curious. On or about April 10, 2008. So this is 5 years. Wait, no, so this is 3 years after getting her license. Oh my God. She was only practicing for 3 years before she was getting like into shady practices. And who knows, maybe she was already getting into shady practices before that. Okay, so about April 10, 2008, respondents began a clinical relationship providing mental health therapy to a married couple, hereinafter referred to as John and Jane Doe. John and Jane Doe are now divorced. I found Adam Paul Steed's ex-wife. It was like on Jodi Hildebrandt's, I went to her LinkedIn page, and you know how there's a side where it says like people you might want to connect with, or I forgot what it was, but she was on there. I recognized her name, Morwenna. On or about April 10, 2008, Jesus. Between April 2008 and 2010, on multiple occasions, the state of Utah responded without having received signed authorizations to discuss sensitive private information about John and Jane Doe with the clergy of John and Jane Doe and 2 other mental health therapists. Oh my goodness. You think Jesse's like 30? Okay. Because I was thinking what happened to Jesse was probably like 15 years ago, right? About 15 years ago. On or about March 11, 2009, responded without having received signed authorization or any type of information from John Doe, disclosed sensitive, confidential information about John Doe, including medical diagnosis with administrators at the university located in Utah. The disclosure of this information was detrimental to John Doe and not in John Doe's best interests. Between November 2009 and 2010, while respondent was providing mental health therapy to Jane Doe, respondent permitted Jane Doe, who was then a mental health therapy student, to perform a clinical practicum at the clinic owned by respondent. Respondent determined that this arrangement would be beneficial to Jane Doe due to the fact that Jane Doe had attended therapy groups and community support groups at the facility, that Jane Doe was comfortable at the facility, and that Jane Doe was familiar with the issues of the clients. Respondent failed to document the informed consent, benefits, and risk of such a relationship in Jane Doe's patient chart. Ooh. 2012. 12 years ago. Oh, there's a larger there's a larger version. I could have just read this one right here. Yuck. Is this a oh, this is an article. Salt Lake Tribune. A porn addiction therapist has been reprimanded by the state for discussing patient without his permission with his LDS church leaders and Brigham Young University. All of the claims made by Jodi Nan Hildebrandt were false, the man asserts, but they led to his loss of privileges in the church and his ejection from BYU. Quotations. She just lied wherever she went to further an agenda to destroy my life, the man said, who objected to bills that were as high as $2,000 a month. Imagine paying $2,000 a month to someone that's like ruining your life, ruining your fucking marriage. We came there for a marriage counseling and she pulled us into her porn marathon. No, not to Jodi's porn marathon. Oh, God. No, I don't think she's 22, 23. I think she's more like late 20s or 30s. I don't get 22, 23 vibes from her. Jesse is 30, I think. 30? Hildebrandt, a professional counselor, is on probation for 18 months and must meet 22 conditions or she could lose her license. How did she just not lose her license? What the fuck? Jesus. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints said Wednesday that Hildebrandt is no longer on LDS Family Service referral list due to the case. That's when they took her off. She's the director of LifeStar Utah County, a franchisee of a national company based in Utah that specializes in pornography and sexual addiction. I wonder if like that's why her and her husband broke up, and that's why she decided to like take this and go gung-ho with it, going after men who watch porn. Excessive use of pornography is not recognized as a disorder by the APA. The conditions on Jodi Hildebrandt's license include working under a supervisor approved by the Utah Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing. The supervisor will sit in on videotape or audio tape at least one clinical sessions a month, review 20% of her patient files according to, my God, wouldn't it just be better just to fucking revoke her license? Like, this is like the number one thing you just do not do. And she fucking broke it. It's not she did it accidentally too. She did it with like, it seems like a malicious intent. They had to hire someone that would supervise her. Oh my God, and go through her files. The supervisor will also instruct her on issues related to confidentialities, boundaries, and relationships. She may need to undergo a psychological evaluation. Did she go through a psychological evaluation? And complete treatment if necessary? Hildebrandt did not return a phone call or email message. In the DOPL order, she agreed that her actions violated the state law and the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics. Hildebrandt's lawyer, Robert Harrison, said in an email that her license is active and her practice has and will continue without interruption. In 2008, Hildebrand provided therapy to a married couple, identified by Doppel only as John and Jane Doe, who later divorced. John Doe agreed to an interview but asked not to be identified because he fears repercussions from the therapist. He has subsequently been told he can return to study at BYU if he chooses and is currently a member of the church. Between 2008 and 2010, Hildebrand repeatedly discussed the couple with their LDS clergy and their other mental health therapists without having signed authorization. I think in 2009, she talked about John Doe to the Honor Code office at BYU. In those conversations, Doe said she accused him of having serious problems but never actually diagnosed him or spent enough time with him to do so. She hardly spent any time knowing about my life, he said. She didn't want to talk about my personal goals or my progress. She only threatened me if I didn't take more sessions and have my wife take more sessions, and alleged addiction would destroy my life. She just wanted that money. This is how she got her $5 million mansion. Hi, Plain Jane. How are you doing today? I like this Hannah lady. In addition, while Hildebrand was providing therapy to Jane Doe, she allowed the woman to work in our clinic without documenting whether she had given the patient information about the benefits or risk of blurring their therapeutic relationship. Ooh. In an interview, John Doe said the couple had referred to Lifestar for marriage counseling by their LDS bishop. Yikes. Whose brother co-founded the Murray-based National Lifestar Network. Ay. John Doe said he didn't have any addiction issues, and once he began to question Hildebrand's therapy, which cost $1,200 to $2,000 a month, his personal life started to unravel. He believes Hildebrand was using his marriage as leverage for me to pay for everything. Todd Olson with Lifestar Network in Murray said he's aware of the discipline order against Hildebrand. He said she's licensed to use the company's materials, but she is not an employee and has no authority over her Utah County office. Let's see. Where is the stalking part? Oh, here's the stalking part. Okay. Ms. Hildebrand noted that currently a former client and the inability to protect herself and her family from him stalking her is the biggest stress in her life. She believes that confidentiality laws prohibit her from identifying him to legal authorities at this time. She continues to be concerned about herself and her family's safety because she believes that she is being stalked. She believes that he has been to her home 2 times since her meeting with the board in September. Ms. Hildebrand stated that she continues working with law enforcement for assistance on this matter. Currently, her local police department has 18 calls from her regarding the stalking and the vandalism. I wonder if those 911 calls are still around. She attended 2 ethics courses and talked with the instructors regarding the stalking. They gave her the same feedback as the association lawyers and board. One of the instructors stated he would research this further to see how other mental health therapists in the state handle this. Hildebrand said she managed her stress by looking to friends for support, talking to a seasoned therapist, exercising. Ms. Hildebrand said she took a vacation out of state and found this very helpful. This is the second probation. Oh, so these are all the interviews that they conducted with her. Hildebrand says things are going well. She continues to deal with the issues of the stalker that comes to her home. Ms. Hildebrand said she is setting her own personal boundaries. All right. Sorry, I don't know how we even got here. How did we get here? All right, y'all. Kevin. This will maybe cover a different stream. All right, y'all. How are we doing today? Oh, how are you guys? I took 2 animal psychology courses, but I don't think I'm an animal psychologist. Hello, Whitney. She was involved in conversion therapy, and the church sent people to her, so she was like valuable to them. The eldest people love condemning people for looking at porn. It's like their favorite pastime. Oy. All right, so today, if you guys weren't here from the beginning, have your notifications on, okay, on Discord or on YouTube.